Surgeon. We have Dr. Bibi Hussein, General Surgeon. And we have Devona Bowman, an operating room technician. She's there. We have Darwin Bennett, the biomedical technician. And to the medical team that went to India, he's known as Chris Gale. And that's another story, because the people mistook him for Chris Gale while he was there.
You signed a lot of autographs.
He did. And we have Imran Ali, who is the biomedical technician as well. But he's not here. He's currently...
So I just want to say that the team, a part of the team is in the theater now with the specialized surgeon from India. And that team is there because they're doing something extraordinary. And you will hear more about that as we go on. So, but continue, Frank, team.
So we also have the anesthetic staff. They're not here. They're in the theater. So we have I want to recognize Dr. Tiffany Fitkau, anesthesiologist, Dr. Fernando, who is also an anesthesiologist, and Sister Knights, who is the nurse in charge of the theater. A lot of what we were doing is IT-based. So we had IT support from Timothy Melville, and we also had a lot of support from eNetworks. I don't know, I'm not sure if they're here. And the team that came in from India was led by Dr. Sudhir Srivastava, the cardiac surgeon and founder of SS Innovations. We had Suraj Dwivedi, senior software engineer. We had Manish, who was the head of department for robotics instruments. Avinash Singh, who is an expert on server network administrator. Vilayat Ali, manager of digital media marketing. Mohit Tripathi, the principal application specialist. We had Shivram Bhatt, senior clinical specialist. So this was the technical team along with the main cardiac surgeon that came from India. And we had a team out in India that was also supporting, and that team included Dr. Vishwa Srivastava, and of course we had Dr. Shukla from Northwell, who is the chairman of the National Robotic Council. We also had, because we did some cardiac surgery, the local team for the cardiac surgery included Dr. Gary Stevens, Dr. Avalon Jeffrey, Dr. Pradeep Ramkumar, and Dr. Eric, who is a vascular surgeon. We also, so these are some of the key people that participated in the technical work that we were doing.
I think the minister is being very modest. We put together a technical team and the Robotics Advisory Council. And we have some of the members that will make up that council. Of course, I want to congratulate Dr. Frank Anthony, his team, all our local doctors, our regional partners, and I think we should give them a big round of applause. But I also want to recognize some really top assets of the region that will form part of the robotics team. First, of course, is Dr. Shukla, who, as you know, is one of the famous names out in New York at Northwell Hospital. And we have Dr. Karpin, one of the famous names here in Guyana and across the region in cardiac surgery, co-chairing the robotics committee. He's the deputy chair, so I will, if you don't know him, you can recognize him from his head. We have another Guyanese, Bajan, Jamaican. Am I right? Oh, you were born in Barbados, Guyana. Guyanese, Bajan, Jamaican. Of course, he comes from a very known Guyanese family. Dr. Riyad Ghafoor, please stand so they can see you, who is going to be part of the Robotic Council. He heads robotics transformation there in Jamaica. So he is from Jamaica. That's where he's working from now. We have Dr. Dion, a Guyanese. He's not here, but he also will be part, and he worked and is working in a robotic environment, an innovator in healthcare, and he was born in Guyana. He presently serves in the U.S. What's the guy from Trinidad name? Dr. Satindra Prasad from Trinidad and Tobago, who lead up their work on robotics there too. And he's also Guyanese. And then we have the doctor from New York. Steve Carroll from New York. So these are the persons who, some of the persons who will be on that robotic, the council, robotic council. And of course, the minister, Dr. Anthony, will be there. So it was exciting news today, but I think we can start now with even equally exciting but not life-threatening announcement. And I want to welcome my dear sister, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Once again in Guyana, we thank you sincerely for your attendance. And Prime Minister Mottley had the distinct honor of being the first person between Guyana and I was going to say Trinidad, between Guyana and Barbados to use the digital ID card to travel from Barbados to Guyana. And will return home using the digital ID card. We have said before, from one of our first meetings, that we'll work hard to break every boundary, bring our countries closer and more integrated. And today you have seen the power of the digital ID card as from July, and that is not because the system is not ready, that is because the airlines need some time to adjust to the new system. From July the 1st, you can forget your passport at home and travel with your digital ID card to Barbados, and same from Barbados to Guyana. I think that deserves a regional round of applause. So I just give some brief remarks, and then I leave this to Prime Minister Mottley, because she will speak also about the broader context that we are discussing and how we want to take this forward, and even some grander plans that we have between Barbados and Guyana. But I will say that the government of Guyana, that we are very pleased that on Monday, the 25th of May, 2026, we successfully implemented the use of the digital identity cards of Barbados and Guyana respectively. This serves as an accepted form of identification for regional travel across both countries. This initiative represents a major step forward in regional digital integration, border modernization, and the advancement of CARICOM cooperation. It is important to note that both countries are building on different blocks of this card, where our healthcare system will be integrated in the card, and of course, your behavior will form part of what the card represents, so that both countries, the security of the card and having the card when you travel is more than a traveling document. God forbids that you get sick in one of the countries. Eventually, the card, when used in a medical facility, will be able to pull up all your medical records and allow that doctor in that jurisdiction to have access to your medical records without you walking with your medical records. So that allows even better care. I also want to show to you my card. This is my Guyana Digital ID card. I got it some time ago. And I think Prime Minister also, when she speaks, will show you. Okay, so we can put our cards together. We are encouraging everyone in Barbados to get registered for your cards in Barbados, and every Guyanese to get registered for your card here in Guyana. This is really good. This arrangement was approved following the passage of the necessary orders issued in both countries. After consultations involving government officials, CARICOM impacts, and other regional stakeholders. As a result, it is expected to streamline border processing, reduce travel friction, and enhance convenience for citizens traveling for business, tourism, education, and family connections. The digital ID card of Guyana is administered through the Office of the Prime Minister, enabling Guyanese citizens to travel, conduct local and regional transactions, and access government services more efficiently through a secure and modern digital identification system. The bilateral agreement between Guyana and Barbados also reflects broader CARICOM objectives to facilitate freer movement of people and modernize regional governance systems through digital innovation. By enabling traveling with national ID cards, Guyana and Barbados are positioning themselves at the forefront of digital public infrastructure development in the Caribbean. I would say that we are now advancing talks on how we would digitally connect our financial systems in even a stronger way, creating financial opportunities, business opportunities, commerce opportunities for both citizens of Barbados and Guyana. And note, I said citizens, not only the private sector, creating opportunities for the ordinary citizens, every single citizen. So I'm very excited on this, our 60th independence anniversary, the Diamond Jubilee. And Prime Minister, I really thank you for giving us this honor on this day to have this celebrated. We could have chosen any other day. You could have chosen your own Independence Day, your own Freedom Day. But with your normal openness and regional approach and your love and friendship for Guyana and the Guyanese people, you insisted that the day be today, our 60th independence anniversary, our Diamond Jubilee. I want to thank you sincerely for such humility and such honor as we celebrate this magnificent day. And earlier today, it was just spectacular what we experienced. So Prime Minister Motley, please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, my dear brother, President Ali, Minister Anthony, other members of Cabinet, members of the Barbados Cabinet who are here. Everyone, happy independence to the people of Guyana. You know, I myself turned 60 last October, so I understand the importance of a Diamond Jubilee. And I understand that it is also the new 40, so we've only now started to live. And I am really very happy because 40 years ago, just shy of 40 years ago, the father of Barbados' independence came to Guyana for a CARICOM Heads of Government meeting and delivered a speech that has come to be regarded as one of the best regional speeches at a CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, where he spoke about the importance of us as leaders following the lived reality of ordinary Caribbean people in terms of integration. Yesterday when I landed at Ogle Airport in Georgetown and Minister Zulfi Ali was with me, I thanked him and my own Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Jonathan Reed, but also give a hand to their teams,
Yes.
because both gentlemen had to work with multiple departments across both Barbados and Guyana, as well as the regional security architecture. And in short order, less than 6 weeks' time, they were able to allow us to align this possibility that inures not to the benefit of the Cabinet of Guyana or the Cabinet of Barbados, not inures to the private sector of Guyana or the private sector of Barbados, but it is now the benefit to benefit each and every citizen. And even if a person does not have a passport, but has a digital ID card, they can now travel between the two countries. And we say simply to you, we've only just begun. And why do I say that? We recognize that anniversaries don't and should never just be simply commemorative. That for them to be effective, they must leave a legacy. At the personal level in terms of the commitments we make, at the national level in terms of the opportunities and the commitments that we've made. And that is why President Ali and myself felt strongly that this was a perfect opportunity to give ordinary Guyanese and ordinary Bajans the opportunity to know what it is to have ultimately easier travel and not having to be able to rely only on a passport. We expect that in the fullness of time that we will be able to do that with other brothers and sisters in the Caribbean community. But let us be very clear. In 1966, Barbados and Guyana chose to assume responsibility for their destiny in the same year. And Barbados and Guyana have been tied not just then, and let me go back just briefly. In the post-emancipation era, it was Bajans who came to Guyana to help build out the sugar industry, and who subsequently also came as teachers and preachers and performing other functions, because regrettably our island was overpopulated at the time for what it was. It was Guyanese who came to Barbados to establish the manufacturing sector in the 1950s and 60s and early 70s. And therefore, we have chosen to be able to reignite that spirit of cooperation that has linked our two countries together. And in fact, President Ali, the gift from the people of Barbados to you and to the people of Guyana is also a painting of the sea and ocean, because I say only the sea separates us, and I mean it. We have been able, therefore, to work together on so many things. But this ID card, and then the second one we want to work on, is the Trident Arrow Investment Fund, an investment fund that we want to be able to create that will be open to ordinary Bajans and ordinary Guyanese to invest in critical infrastructure and long-term, medium to long-term investment projects, whether in the utilities sector, whether in the area of technology, whether in the area of agro-processing, because we believe that this is the only way we can, one, allow our citizens, certainly in Barbados' case, to be able to earn a return that is greater than what the banks are paying at 0.1% in savings. And in an inflationary environment, you effectively pauperize your citizens. And two, to be able to ensure that in addition to that, our citizens become owners in the land of their birth rather than tenants for the period of their lifetime. And to that extent, therefore, we use this opportunity moving forward to continue to ensure that we can establish a fund. It's not a political fund. It will be properly managed with all the proper prudential regulations and financial mechanisms and laws buttressing it. But what it does is that instead of allowing only other foreign investment to come in to own critical parts of aspects of our economy, it allows ordinary people who could not do it on their own, but who, as part and parcel of a collective group, can make it happen and move mountains. So, Mr. President, I want to thank you for your openness, for your strong regional outlook in everything that you have done since being in office. With respect to what you have done as well today with the robotics and your offer to the rest of us within the Caribbean community to also be able to have our own hospitals purchase the robots and to have training here in Guyana such that we are then capable of being able to do surgeries that we would not otherwise be able to do, and also hopefully help with easing the backlog and the timing of backlogs. This is an area that will continue to grow. We have a number of Bajans working in the diaspora in the area of robotics, and as you just pointed out, we have found a sweet spot with one who is Guyanese, Bajan, and Jamaican, working in Jamaica, went to school in Barbados, and born in Guyana. That is what CARICOM integration is fundamentally about. And I want to thank the people and government of India, because yet again, and I remember this, and Minister Anthony would as well, that it was the Indian government who stepped up and helped us in the deep, dark days of COVID, when others were not prepared to spare us a vaccine or to spare us the thought of a vaccine. It was the Indian government that brought the relief to our region at the time at which they did. So once again, we continue to work together and to ensure that in working together, our purpose always is, how do we allow integration, as Errol Barrow said in 1986, to continue to reflect the lived reality of ordinary Caribbean people. I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to you joining me in Barbados on the weekend of the 30th of November for our 60th anniversary then, because the circle is not closed until such time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. You know, I said two things we'll deal with, but maybe I'll make this announcement also. Within 1 week, today I want to announce that the government of Guyana will launch a special bond, a diaspora bond, to raise funds from the diaspora for investment in public infrastructure project in Guyana. So within 1 week, we'll be launching the diaspora bond. And that is today. I make that announcement on the Diamond Jubilee. So members of the diaspora, here is your opportunity to make your contribution and to be part of the massive transformation taking place in our country. I now move to some exciting news. When I said that we want to position Guyana as a leader in global health care, many persons doubted. Many more persons thought that we were making a very light statement. But I also said that our development must lead to the prosperity of CARICOM, this region. That is why when we embarked on this journey of robotic surgery, and not only robotic surgery, Riyadh, you can correct me if I am going wrong medically, the latest advances in technology in robotic surgery. The absolutely latest technology, not the one yesterday, the most current technology, some of which, most of which, is not even existing in the most developed medical environment we have adopted in our robotic. We have leapfrogged to 2050 and beyond. We have leapfrogged to 2050 and beyond. And as an entire team, and I'm so grateful and thankful for the team across our medical system. But when we made the investment, we did not just make an investment to be part of history. We made the investment and we bought the entire training module. And we got the SS Mantra ecosystem to agree to put an international training hub here in Guyana to train all our professionals. We had to send our entire team to India to be trained. And the guys, the report is exceptional. They were blown away at the capability of our local guys. And I'm so proud of you guys. But today, this facility, everything that they experience in the most advanced facility in India, in the coming weeks, will be available here in Guyana for the rest of the region as we build out the hub for robotics, surgery, and care from Guyana, and the spokes will be built out throughout the Caribbean, and we will provide this training mechanism for all of the teams across the region. So I think that deserves a resounding round of applause. There is no better way to signal our mark in this Diamond Jubilee than this historic moment. A landmark cardiac telesurgery procedure was conducted on the 26th of May, 2026 on our Diamond Jubilee in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana at 6 a.m. The team performed a coronary artery bypass graft. The surgery was performed by internationally renowned cardiac surgeon Dr. Sudhir Srivastava and his entire team, both from India and from Guyana, and of course, regionally. Dr. Srivastava operated remotely from Guyana on a patient located in India using the SSI Mantra 3 robotic surgical system. From today, our surgeon is called Freedom 60. Mantra Freedom 60. So when you do your cardiac surgery or you do surgery in the neurology or gynecology, you will hear Surgeon Freedom 60 will be at your side. Don't be afraid. The telesurgery covered, and please listen carefully, the telesurgery covered an estimated distance of approximately 20,000 kilometers, making it the longest distance telesurgery ever attempted in the world to date. I want to make it clearer now. Making it the longest distance telesurgery ever completed in the world. The procedure in India was supported on site by Dr. Lalit Malik and Dr. Mohit Bandari. Following that historic moment, we then had a local robotic general surgery. And we have some of our team will give you the details. For a matter of fact, they will tell you about how different a human is from a robot when you know sometimes you go in and there is more to fix than you thought. And that human would have had to change in a theater from 3 hours to 6 hours. You can imagine the strain, right, Dr. Riyad? But they will tell you a bit about that. So following that telesurgery, led by Dr. Hemraj Ramcharan and supported by Dr. Bibi Hussain and Dr. Jagnan Ramnarayan, they performed a local robotic hernia repair. The procedure involved the repair of a hernia. The Guyanese team previously underwent specialized training in robotic surgery in India. I'll ask Dr. Ramcharan to explain to you what they did. You have that. Who will do the presentation? But you go ahead and explain your surgery and go on. Explain what you did and how Freedom 60 worked along with you.
His Excellency, Honorable Dr. Irfaan Ali, Prime Minister of Barbados, Ms. Mayor Motley, Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, Advisor to the President, Dr. Carpen, visiting surgeon and robotic surgeon, now member of the council, Dr. Riyad Ghafoor, special invitees, CEO of Georgetown Hospital, Mr. Rabi Rambrand, Medical and Professional Services Director, Dr. Navijara Rambrand. Good evening. I'm Mohamed Irfaan, and I'm going to take you through a path. Approximately 5 weeks ago, we were challenged. But before this challenge, all surgeons dream of getting tools that are easier, the latest technology. We want the best for our patients and for ourselves as well. And robotic surgery has been in the first world countries for some time, for a few years. So we're all been dreaming about this. We wrote several proposals, and we were all wondering, would Guyana ever get a robotic surgeon, a robotic material? Little did we know that the president, Dr. Irfaan Ali, was already ahead of us. He was already in conversation with a company that was proven to be reasonable in not only cost, but in terms of the support services. This company was SSI Mantra from India. After conversations, just about 5 weeks ago, after several meetings between the president and this company, along with Dr. Frank Anthony, a team of persons, including surgeons, biomedical technicians, and the nurses, were challenged. This is about 5 weeks ago. Do you think we can do the first surgery before the end of June? The president and the Minister of Health decided to get even more daring. Can we do it by Independence, 26th of May? We looked at each other. The CEO looked at me, Dr. Amran looked at me, and we were all wondering, could we do this? The members from SSI Mantra.
Carpent dried his head.
Yeah, he was sweating. It was a busy 5 weeks. The team went to India for training in 2 weeks, and then we came back and had further training here in Guyana. We're heavily supported by Dr. Sudhir Srivastava and Dr. Vishwa Srivastava, the CEO of SSI Mantra. So after some training and a lot of planning, today was the big day, 26th of May. Everyone was nervous this morning. 6 a.m. this morning, which is 4 p.m. in India, we're planning to do a telesurgery, longest in the world. The longest previously was done by SSI Mantra from Australia to India. And there were a lot of questions as, will we be able to do this? Not only did we do it, we did it well. Dr. Sudhir Srivastava he's an excellent surgeon. He has done this many times, but even he was a little bit nervous this morning, and he was able to carry out the surgery successfully from Guyana to India. Following that, our local team, that training in India, did surgery inguinal hernia. This was the first robotic surgery done physically here in Guyana and the Caribbean. We were mentored by Dr. Sudhir Srivastava, who was excellent in guiding us. But the surgery was done between the surgeons of Guyana, our biomedical technician, and our nurses. This shows clearly that we're able to continue this. So then, following that, the cardiac surgery is presently started at 1 o'clock and is presently being done by Dr. Sudhir with members of the local team. Let me explain.
So so we will come to that one, because that is even a story of amazing, representation of what we're doing here. I'll ask Dr. Riyad to talk to you a bit about what this entire ecosystem will do for the region, the Caribbean, and how it will advance and position us. And of course, speak a bit about the cardiac surgery, and then Dr. Carpen will address the cardiac surgery specifically.
Good evening. Excellency Irfaan Ali, Honorable Prime Minister Mohamed, and your respective cabinets, Minister Frank Anthony, CEO Rambaran, and all of my colleagues and the audience, all protocols observed. Have you ever been told that you have a cancer? Or do you know anyone that has been diagnosed with a cancer? Could you imagine the anxiety that goes through that person's head in the next few minutes to days to weeks while they think about, will they survive this cancer? Will they survive the cancer? Will they be able to work after and provide for their family? When will they get back home and to life as normal? What could possibly go wrong during the surgery? Those are all very real questions. And it's not just cancers. Basically, any kind of surgery can have a complication. You can have functional loss. And without going into too much nitty-gritty, in urology, we're concerned about men's sexual health and their urinary function. You can have return of cancer. In other specialties, you can have complications, infections, and bleeding. So that's the problem that is posed to us when we are challenged with a complex case. And how do we try to mitigate that? Well, robotic surgery is an excellent way. It's been around for about 20 years, but SSI Mantra, as Excellency pointed out, represents the latest generation in robotic systems. What robotics does is it gives you an up-close, zoomed view, 3D view of the insides of the human body, be it the abdomen, the chest. We're even doing joints and neck surgeries now. It gives you a magnified view, not only the view, but you have extreme precision control of the tissues that you manipulate, up to a fraction of a millimeter, things that were never possible before. Sometimes, and I don't want to scare anyone, but sometimes you're doing surgery, open surgery, blind. You know, you're hoping for the best. But this approach truly gives you what I believe the best opportunity at getting someone home, getting them home safely, treating and curing their illness, whatever it might be, while minimizing complications like blood loss, infections, complications after surgery, like clots in the veins and so on. That's what the robotic system is, and that's what it does. I have been asked by patients, I propose to them, I can do this two ways. I can do it by open surgery, I can do it by robotic surgery. And they will ask me, but doc, what do you mean robotic surgery? I want you to do the surgery. You're not going to be there.
Use this one.
Like, go ahead. Sorry. They'll say, what do you mean robotic surgery? You're not going to be there. You're my surgeon. Well, robotic surgery is not the robot doing the surgery. It's robotic-assisted surgery. So it is just another tool. It's just another tool that your surgeon uses. He's in complete control of every millimeter, fraction of a millimeter of your surgery. And today it's robotics. In 10 years, it will be another tool. These are just tools. At the end of the day, it's down to the surgeon trying to help a patient. And that's the gist of what we do in robotic surgery. We just try to mitigate the risks to the patient and get them back to normal life, get them back to their family as quickly and as safely as possible. Now, Prime Minister Motley did point out that I am an amalgamation, a cook-up, if you will, of the various aspects of the Caribbean. And I truly believe that that is what is needed with this endeavor. We need to pool our resources, we need to pool our patients, we need to pool our expertise to really, truly deliver regional healthcare at its best. And I want to commend the panel for putting together what I can only say is a dream team come true. And I really congratulate everyone that has been involved in the effort up to today. Thank you.
Carpen, you speak.
Good evening, Excellency Dr. Ali, Prime Minister Motley, Dr. Anthony, our invited guests, colleagues, friends. So it's a great honor to speak to you today, considering the momentous occasion and the phenomenal development in healthcare for Guyana. We've all, every single Guyanese, every person in the Caribbean knows someone who has a heart problem. As you get older, the #1 cause of death in the region and around the world is cardiovascular disease. And way up on top of that is what we commonly refer to as heart attack. It's caused by blockage. Now, a number of blockages can be fixed by stents, medications, lifestyle, etc. But unfortunately, there's a significant percentage of our people, or the population, that needs bypass surgery. And we've seen it often. You tell a patient they need bypass surgery, and you could see how scared they are. you could see the fear because of what they have read, what they have seen, what they have experienced with friends, family members, etc. Typically, in this part of the world, it has been a cut straight down the chest. The breastbone or the sternum is split in two to have access to the heart. Automatically, that means the patient stays in hospital at least 7 days after bypass surgery. And if you consider a conservative estimate that each postoperative day in the cardiac ICU costs $6,000 to $12,000 US, you can do the math. Now, that is the traditional way. This morning, we have introduced, and we are part of a cardiac surgery approach, the tele-robotic surgery, where instead of opening the chest straight down the middle, what was done is some fine tubes, just the size of this microphone thing here, inserted between the rib spaces. Then a gas is pumped in on the left side to collapse the left lung. When you collapse the left lung, the patient is then breathing through the right lung. It's important to collapse the lung because that's how you get access to the heart, because the heart is surrounded by lung tissue. And then the robot arms then are used to detach an artery. The surgeons nickname the surgeon's artery. God put it there for surgeons because they can't figure out what it's used for normally. So it's a spare artery at the back of the chest. So the robot arm then gently disengages it from the back of the chest and then makes it available to attach to the part of the heart that needs to get the bypass. When all of that is done and these tiny tubes are removed, the patients spend on average between 3 to 4, maybe 5 days in hospital. So automatically you're cutting down hospital stay by about 50%. There's a direct implication on cost. So regardless of, well, not regardless, but even though there's a significant upfront investment, in some cases, the long-term savings are tremendous. It's a no-brainer when you do the health economics. So we're saving cost, we're saving time, but most importantly for patients, the discomfort. You're healing and recovering from a puncture versus a straight down the middle cut. Breathing is not so painful. Patients are more comfortable. You could actually make a joke with them and they would laugh and not be worried that the sternum will crack open again. That's an extreme situation. So that's the first case that was done this morning, a bypass surgery.
I think just for image, they can show you what was the old way and what was the new way. They will just show you, and then you continue on the second one. You have that image?
This is a historic, actually, movement for Guyana and also for SSI, that this is the longest distance telesurgery ever. And based on our research, the communication distance is between
That gives you a visual image of the old way and the new way.
Yeah. If you look at the old way, you see hands pulling things. Hands get tired. People get tired. They can't keep that up for too long. If you've ever spent any time in the gym doing resistance training, you know what I'm talking about. The robots don't get tired. So they can pull and expose tissue as long as possible, as long as you need it, and continue. The surgeon just continue to do their work.
Yeah, talk about the second.
So the second surgery,
Go back to the original screen.
The second issue we have is structural heart disease. So the first one was blockage that develops over time as you get into middle age, etc. The second surgery that is being done is something called an atrial septal defect. Now, the heart has 4 chambers, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 2 on the right side, 2 on the left side, okay? The right and left is separated at the top by something called the atrial septum, and it's separated at the bottom by something called a ventricular septum. That's just the separation of left heart and right heart. So the second surgery that was being done is a patient who was born with a hole in the top part of the heart, the atrial septum.
Now you recall that we have to send people out of the country at huge cost to fix what we normally call in layman term, the hole in the heart.
Yeah. Regionally, these kind of surgeries cost between $35,000 to $45,000. As you go further north, it goes further north, $80,000 and above.
US
So,
dollars.
so that's the kind of cost factor we're dealing with here. So when people are born with this hole in the heart at the top part, there are a few that can actually have it repaired by putting in a special device through the leg. In a number of cases, however, that's not an option, and that's when you have to do open surgery. And again, the approach traditionally to access the heart is through the middle, straight down the middle. So imagine now you're doing this by poking holes between the rib cage and then implanting valves, opening heart muscles, etc. The healing is better, recovery time is better, cost is better, overall benefit to patient, overall benefit to the service, the economy is better. So this is not just a project that we've embarked on, led by His Excellency to, just to mark our name as pioneers, but it actually makes sense economically for the country, and it makes sense for our people when they get sick.
We can look at the 2 videos now of 2 of the surgery this morning so you can have an understanding, and then we'll ask Dr. Anthony to speak a bit.
This is a historic, actually, movement for Guyana and also for SSI, that this is the longest distance telesurgery ever, and based on our research, the communication distance is between 18 to 20,000 kilometers.
As Guyana marks its 60th independence anniversary, the celebrations are everywhere. But quietly within the halls of the Georgetown Public Hospital, the country's largest public health facility, an amazing achievement is unfolding. New robotic surgical systems are bringing a new standard of care to Guyanese citizens.
The fact that we can do this in Guyana is a big jump in the surgical care of patients.
This is Freedom 60. This is a new era of healthcare in Guyana.
Yeah, they got next one, right? Yeah, go ahead. I know I saw it too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Prime Minister Motley, cabinet members, the team from the Georgetown Hospital, members of the media. Today is indeed a very significant day for us. It's our 60th independence anniversary, and it bears more significance for us because, as the poster said there, we are launching a new era of medicine in Guyana. And as you've seen from the surgery that was done, using robotic arms with a surgeon sitting on a chair with a console in his hands and operating on a patient that is 20,000 kilometers away. Factor in all the technology where there might be latency and how things travel, these signals travel. And to be able to conduct not just any surgery, but a heart surgery on a beating heart. Think about that. The heart was beating, and he was operating, and that patient, because of this operation, is alive and well. And that's the power of what has happened here today. So it's the longest telesurgery, and we've demonstrated that if you have a hub here, you can have spokes in different countries, different places, and that we are capable of doing these types of surgery. And we've demonstrated we can do it with heart, we can do it in general surgery, in gynecology, in urology, and so forth. And all of these, that's why we sent this large team to be trained, because they'll have the expertise in these different areas. Back here at home, you can have a surgeon being here in Georgetown and operate on a patient that is in one of our regional hospitals. And that can bring tremendous difference, tremendous comfort to that patient, because you're operating away from Georgetown and doing precision surgery. So one of the great things with these systems is that, as Dr. Karpen was saying, and Dr. Riyad and Dr. Ramcharan, it is extremely precise. So if you want to do 1 millimeter, it gives you 1 millimeter. Extremely, extremely precise. I was fortunate to, this morning, to sit next to Dr. Ramcharan while he was operating. And you would have noticed on the photographs, they have these special glasses. So you put them on, and when you look at the screen, you're seeing the screen in a three-dimensional way. So you're not seeing, so you have this perception of the depth, right? And when they operate, you can actually see everything very, very clearly. Not only is it very clear, it's magnified in such a way that some of the most minute structure that you might have missed with regular traditional surgery, you're able to identify this in great detail. And that is tremendously important, because if you look at blood vessels, you don't want to nick a blood vessel. You want to make sure that you can manage the bleeding, or you don't want to nick a nerve, because, you know, it's very important that you're able to see these structures and avoid them. And so when you're operating with this robot, and the screens that they have with this system, it's very, it's not only 3D, but high diff, as they said, high definition. So you see this thing with so much clarity. And it is just amazing. I sat there and I was just amazed by the quality of the work and the type of things that they were able to do. And that's what these systems represent. Now we're now starting, but as the team get more familiar, not only would they be able to do precision and accurate surgery with less bleeding, faster recovery time, and all of that, but they'll get faster in how they're able to do these surgeries. So something now that they take a little longer time, the time span would be reduced. And so they'll be able to do much more surgeries as we go. And so the telesurgery was one thing, but then the work that they've started to do with the local team. We also had, as President was saying, not only do we want to have a training hub here for the rest of the region, and we already have a system where we can do that training. That system is installed so the team can practice. We're working with a company. They are going to ensure that the whole module for training is here. Our system, we are going to accredit that program between the Postgrad Institute, University of Guyana, and the Ministry of Health, so that when you go through that training, you will have fellowship, in a sense, fellowship training, so that it would be recognized. And we would be the only ones that would be able to offer that because we have the systems here. So that's very important. In terms of the robotic surgery, we had some very detailed discussions with Dr. Subir, and he is very committed to helping us expand our robotic cardiac surgery. And where we have some gaps, he's going to work with us to make sure that we can fill those gaps. One of the expertise that we need is a perfusionist, so they're going to work with us to make sure that we send somebody for training, and they're going to help us to find that placement so that we can have our own perfusionists, so that these things can move from where we have teams would have to come in to lend support to where we'll have our own national capacity and be able to do it by ourselves. So, as I said, for our 60th independence anniversary, this is a phenomenal launch, and it represents the President's vision of building out a world-class healthcare system. I think about 5 years ago, when he made several speeches and he was talking about world-class healthcare systems, I think there were lots of people who were very skeptical. But today you can see that transformation. We have demonstrated it with robotic surgery, with robotic telesurgery. Within the country, we have one of the most extensive telemedicine networks. We have also been working on putting in digital health, such as electronic health records. We have started using AI in interpretation of X-ray results. That AI system is now deployed to more than 15 hospitals across the country. And think about that. If you don't have enough radiologists, and you can use an AI system to help you with interpretation, in which case, in this case, it's about 99% accurate, how much more time you're saving? It takes the current system that we're using 20 seconds to determine something that is normal or abnormal, and then another minute to give you a preliminary diagnosis. And this is rolled out now in 15 hospitals, and we're putting it in all our hospitals. So when the President speaks about world-class healthcare, it's not just rhetoric. It is actually delivering world-class healthcare to our patients. And as he constantly reminds us, this infrastructure that we are building is not just for Guyana, but we want to see this expanded to the rest of the region so that people can benefit from the things that we are doing here. And every day we are working to make sure that vision becomes a reality. So today I'm extremely proud, and I want to thank the team that worked very hard over the last couple of weeks. Emrad said he had 5 weeks to do this. But we thought that we can do it, and we can do it on Independence Day. And we weren't mistaken because they have truly delivered on Independence Day. So I want to applaud them for the hard work and the efforts that they have put in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to give a layman's understanding. Just imagine a surgeon with two hands. Riyadh, again, you guys tell me if I'm going wrong. A surgeon with two hands. Now you have Freedom 60 with 5 arms. Right? To help that surgeon with his 2 arms to conduct his surgery. And super eyes. Not only the arm, super zoom eyes. They can zoom up and see further. So that is amazing. Now, another amazing thing here is that the Freedom 60 carries 5 arms. As far as we know, other robots carry 4 arms. Right?
Yeah, you can build out.
Yeah. So Freedom 60 carries 5 arms. So today, I want to thank all the people of Guyana, but importantly, the people in our healthcare system, as I thank all our men and women who serve us all across the country. It was a great day for Guyana, and now, also with this investment, we can have the most specialized surgeons. Dr. Riyadh can now work from Jamaica to Guyana when they have the spoke built out in Jamaica. We have, same with Barbados, we can have a surgeon every week doing 2 of these procedures. We have our local surgeons here, but just imagine kids with a hole in the heart. To put it simply, we can have this support now from India or anywhere else that the system is deployed. So members of the media, thank you. Thank you all. I'll ask Prime Minister if she would like to say anything, but no. So thank you all. Have a great evening and a rest of our independence. Thank you. God bless you.